Hello and welcome to Lisa Loves. This is a video that I was going to put on my other channel, but it's a personal channel, not many people really will be watching it, and I know I have some subscribers on this channel that have played this game, are going to play this game. We're talking The Last of Us 2, which I have just completed. This shall have massive, great big fat spoilers in there, so if you don't want any, or if you maybe know some stuff and don't know all of the stuff, I am going to talk about the actual plot of this game, which is the main thing I think that needs a bit of talking about. I've watched quite a few people's videos on this game so far, and I want to dispel the misconceptions, and as in how I was wrong when I started to play the game and my preconceptions and how they were changed, and I just want to talk about it overall. So The Last of Us, the initial game, follows Joel and Ellie. I'm not going to go into the full story because I'm sure you're not watching this if you haven't played the last game, or if you're not interested. We follow these two characters all the way through to the end, and The Last of Us 2 picks up again with Joel and Ellie. Quite a bit older, so we've moved on a bit from the last game. Now, there are some major things that happen in this that a lot of people have not been very happy about. I managed to avoid every spoiler that existed and went into this game with no knowledge whatsoever, which is how I would recommend you do if you know nothing, don't watch any of this. I did that. I don't watch reviews on things before, apart from the odd movie, but if there's any sign that there's going to be a spoiler, I won't watch it. I didn't watch the reviews on this game. So, here's where the spoilers begin, folks. 1 hour, just over 1 hour into the game, we lose Joel. Joel dies. Joel is the main character with Ellie in the first game. He's a very beloved character. He is one that everyone loves, me included. He saves Ellie all the way through the first one. Basically, if you're not aware, the concept is that we have like a zombie apocalypse and Ellie is actually the only person that's immune. And if the doctors take her and experiment on her, do whatever they need to do, she could potentially put a stop to this outbreak. She could be the cure. But in being that, she will die. So Joel has to bring Ellie the whole way through the first game to the place to deliver her for this to happen. But along the way, they develop a very close father-daughter bond. He loses his child at the start of the first game, and the relationship that develops between them is just beautiful. And when faced with that decision of whether he should allow Ellie to die to save mankind, or should he save her and leave mankind with this disastrous apocalyptic zombie situation, he chooses to save Ellie, and that's how we end the first game. So we start off in the second game. They're quite a bit older, and as I say, we lose Joel about an hour, just over an hour into gameplay, which was quite the shocker. I wasn't expecting that, and I was like, no! They can't be killing Joel, they just cannot be doing it, but they did, and I was perplexed. I'm sad we've lost Joel, but I got into the game. The gameplay is amazing, the graphics are second to none. If you're a fan of Red Dead Redemption 2, which I very much am, the graphics are quite similar. The gameplay, there's horse riding in here in places, and lots of similarities to Red Dead. In the layout of like one of the towns called Jackson, I saw a lot of parallels with Red Dead. It's just a beautiful game. I heard someone describe it as it's like a movie in its own right, and it is. It's absolutely beautiful. And there are some things in there that I've never seen in a game before, which I will get into. So I want to talk about complaints that have been happening about the game. So the first major complaint is obviously that we lose Joel right at the start of the game. And while that is upsetting and hurtful, people say what drew them in was the relationship between Ellie and Joel. This game becomes a revenge story. Ellie is going out there to search and seek down the people responsible for Joel's death. So to me, yes, we lost Joel, but we needed the scene, we needed that to happen in order for the story to take place as it did. And to me, we have Joel the whole way through the game, even though we don't play as him, even though he may not physically be there. Two things, we do experience flashbacks to earlier stages in Ellie's life with Joel. So he's there in that respect, and also everything that Ellie does in the game, everything she has to consider is it's Joel. Everything is Joel's influence. Everything is learned from Joel. you just see little bits of Joel in her. So for that, his spirit carries on for me through the entire game. So I didn't feel that we lost Joel, although we obviously physically did. I do feel his presence very much is felt through the entire game. So that's how I felt about that side of things. The big turning point for me when in thinking, oh my god, I can't believe you're doing this to me. We play the game as Ellie. Now something I would like to mention is Joel writes a song for Ellie, and he plays guitar, and you get to actually physically play the guitar as Joel and later as Ellie, because she later learns. And it's amazing. I've never seen this in a game before. It has different keys that you can play in, all the different notes. Now I do play guitar a little. My finger picking is terrible, my strumming's not too bad, I know my chords. But you can actually sit there and play. There's scenes you have to play what they tell you to play, but there are scenes where it gives you the chords in a circle. So you push your directional pad, whatever direction the chord you want. You can change the chord progressions through to lots of different notes, like majors and minors and just different chord progressions. And you can play your own songs on there. You can sit and play anything you want if you know the chords of that particular song. I know I've heard that quite a popular one to play is Hurt by Johnny Cash. Well, by excuse me, by Nine Inch Nails, but most notably covered much better by Johnny Cash. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a song that's chords are very simplistic, so it is quite simple to play, but it was glorious. So anyway, getting away from the guitar part of things, and there is an acoustic cover of Take On Me by a-ha in there, which not everyone has found and played, because it's not, you don't need to. It's just a little section in the middle of the game that Ellie plays to her girlfriend. That's something else we'll get to.
Talking away, I don't know what I'm to say, I'll say it anyway. Today's another day to find you shying away. I'll be coming for you, love, okay? Take on me. Take me.
I've heard this game being described as feminist bullshit, as man-hating. Now, we play mainly as two characters. There are little tiny sections we just dip in and out of other characters. But the big clincher for me came halfway through the game, and we followed Ellie. We have killed loads of different people. We've killed Seraphites, we've killed, also known as Scars, which they don't like. We've killed KLF soldiers. There's all these different factions. We've killed dogs, which I'm not a fan of, but they sniff you out, and if you don't kill them, you die. There's a lot of stealth at use here. The monsters are terrifying when they come in. There's normal soldiers that you have to kill. There's different, like, there's a cult, is the only way I can put it. There are infected, so the zombies, but they don't shuffle slowly like in Resi. They run. There are shamblers, stalkers, bloaters, there's a rat king. There's just so many monsters, and they're all flipping terrifying. And they all respond differently to different guns, weapons, whatever. And there's certain ways that you could shoot all day at certain ones of them, and you'll never bring them down if you don't use particular weapons. So anyway, I'm deviating. Halfway through the game, Ellie has went through all this crap, and she's face to face with the woman that killed Joel. Joel is actually beaten to death in this movie by a girl. Now, when I say a girl, this is Abby. Enter Abby, who's built like a big muscular man, and I loved it. This girl takes no crap. This girl is as strong as any man. This girl, we get her story also. I'm getting to that. We get halfway through, they come face to face. Abby, this big girl, is responsible for having killed Joel. It's been Ellie's revenge. She saw everyone else down and she has sorted them out. She needs to get to Abby. She finally is in the same room as Abby, but Abby is stood there in a position of power, very clearly about to kill Ellie. I won't tell you exactly how and what happens. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, what's going to happen now? Cut. we go back and start to play the game as Abby. Now, we're playing the game as the individual that killed our hero Joel right at the start of the game. And I'm like, how could you be doing this? How could you be making me play this person? But we play this person. And because the game's awesome, you play the person. And you go right back to the start with Abby. Abby's father was the doctor that was going to be responsible for doing the experimentation on Ellie to save mankind. And in order to save in order to save Ellie at the end of the last game, Joel actually kills the doctor to get, to escape. This doctor happens to be Abby's father. And obviously then she has the revenge aspect, as Ellie does. She needs to seek down and kill Joel, which she does at the start of the movie. But we follow her life right through from being a young girl. We follow her, what inspired her to get how she does. She trains. She is so buff in this. She's so muscular. And a lot of people don't like that. And I love that. This girl fights like a man. She's got a punch like nothing else. She's got guns like you would not believe. And a lot of players didn't like that. There are a lot of people that feel it's feminist or it's man-hating because this woman can look after herself and doesn't need the help of a man, which as a female gamer I adored. She is tough. She's just awesome. And she's meant to be the villain of the piece, but you go back and you get her history and you get why she feels how she does. You realise that Abby and Ellie are the same, exactly the same. Abby is seeking revenge against the person that killed her father and the person that stopped a potential cure for this horrific outbreak. And Ellie obviously is seeking down the person that killed the only person she's ever really properly known as a father, Joel. And we basically follow both their story arcs through the same places, through different experiences, and we get to love Abby. I did. A lot of people maybe didn't feel the same way. But to me, for the game's makers to be able to kill off your most loved character right at the start, to have you play as the individual that killed him, and to make you empathise and feel for that person at the end of the game was just such a turnaround. And for me, I'm not a fan of war. I don't think it solves anything. I think in some cases in the past it may have been necessary when you're talking about Nazis and all that sort of thing, but we're not going to get into that. This game, to me, very much illustrates the futility of war. It illustrates that there are innocents on both sides of any war, that there are people, that there's exactly the same. I go back to that old advert of the German and British soldiers playing football on Christmas Day. During the war, which actually happened, they had a ceasefire for Christmas Day and they played football together and they realised they were the same. And they had to go back after Christmas as enemies, trying to kill each other. And that to me was very moving, that story. And in this is exactly what we have. We have these two girls out to kill one another who are exactly the same. Abby actually comes across a couple of young people, Lev and Kara. And her relationship with them is so similar to the relationship between Joel and Ellie. She's their protector. She's trying to get them through. And I think in that, Ellie actually sees that at a stage in the game, right at the end. Again, I'm going to tell you how this game ends now, so massive spoiler. This is the other point I need to make. At the end, we're playing as Abby right up until very close to the end, and then we switch to Ellie. And Ellie is hunting Abby down, and she finds Abby. Abby has changed somewhat. Her hair is cut short. She has lost a lot of weight. She's lost most of her muscle bulk. She has been kidnapped and not treated very well. She actually finds her crucified, like tied up on a cross. And she could have left her there. Ellie could have left her there, but she cuts her down. And Lev is there also, the one that Abby's protecting. So they're both cut down. We see Abby going to comfort Lev, make sure that he's still alive. And Ellie's watching this kind of like, I think realising this is just like me and Joel. She's protecting this person. But then Ellie has a flashback, which happens quite a bit in the movie. She has PTSD in the game. Sorry, it's just like a movie. She has PTSD, obviously from her experiences, and she flashes back to Joel. And she realises why she's there. And we have that final fight between we have the final fight between Ellie and Abby. You're playing as Ellie and you're trying to kill Abby, who you have just spent half the game playing as. And I'm playing the game, and if you've played it, I'm mashing square because it's a physical punch up fight. There is knives, there's no guns. You don't have any weapons. You can't do anything apart from physically fight. And I'm mashing square and I'm pressing L1 to dodge out of the way, and I'm kicking flipping arse, it has to be said. I'm quite pleased with myself. You're playing as Ellie fighting Abby, and the whole time I'm playing I'm going no, and I'm mashing the buttons. No, I don't want to do this. I don't want to kill Abby. I want her to live. And the upshot of it is Ellie is sat on top of Abby. They're fighting in water and she's holding Abby under the water and she's drowning her. And as she's drowning her, she gets a flashback of Joel with his guitar, just like that, really quick. And she lets Abby up. She doesn't kill her. And I, for one, I know a lot of people were very disappointed with this. They wanted her to kill Abby because Abby had killed Joel. But by this stage, I was invested in Abby's story also, and I realised how similar they were as characters. And for the game to be able to get you to feel that, I've never felt when fighting as a character that I didn't want to kill this other person. And we didn't kill them. And the game ends. The game could have ended better as far as I'm concerned. Ellie goes back to a farm where her and Dina, her girlfriend, had lived with Dina's child. And Dina's not there, Dina's left, because Dina's feelings is that if Ellie continues to pursue Abby, then she's done, she's over, she doesn't want to do it anymore. And when Ellie leaves to seek down Abby at the end of the game, Dina clears off with the baby. When Ellie goes back to the house, the baby and Dina have gone. And the guitar, Joel's guitar, is sat there. At this stage in the final fight, Ellie has actually lost 2 fingers, and she sits down at the end of the game and tries to play the guitar and can't, because obviously the fingers that she needs for the fretboard have gone. And the final scene we have in the movie, Ellie leaves the guitar against the window. My husband says, oh, well, there's no use leaving it there. The sun's going to get that. It's going to warp it. It's going to be... I'm like, no. Symbolism lost. But she leaves the guitar. And to me, that's her leaving Joel, leaving him behind, as in moving on from in her mind of what she's been living with. And she walks away, and the final scene is out the bedroom window with the guitar propped up against it, and she's walking away into the distance. And that's when the game ends. And I was satisfied because Abby was alive and Ellie was alive and the cycle of violence had been broken. I don't know whether we will have a part 3. Personally, I would love to see a part 3. I don't know what they would do, but the game was just beautiful. They don't need a part 3. The ending in itself was a good solution. It was a good conclusion. The cycle of violence has been broken. These 2 girls are both still alive. Obviously, they're always forever going to have issues and problems. And Ellie's big issue for the whole game was that the last conversation and the last words she had with Joel were not good ones. He wanted her to forgive him for what she finds out. She didn't know the whole way through the first game and through part of the second. She didn't know that Joel had saved her and had basically destined mankind to continue as it is. And she finds out and she's not very pleased. She would rather have sacrificed herself to save mankind, and she can't forgive him. And she never actually gets to say that she forgives him in the game, and that's a big gut punch that he dies before she ever gets to say that. I did hear another YouTuber say he would have liked the game to have ended with her maybe going to Joel's grave and saying, I forgive you, and that being the end. I felt the ending was very poignant. I feel that the leaving of the guitar behind and the walking away was her way of leaving it in the past and moving on and realising nothing she can do or say is going to change what's happened. And she's moving away from that cycle of violence that was part of her life for many years. So I feel, I know people say, is it a mess? Is it a masterpiece? Is it feminist agenda? It's a masterpiece. It's beautiful to play. How they managed to completely flip me round from you're making me play with this person to loving that character, to really not wanting to see that character die, to to shout and no, no, no the whole time I'm playing the final fight. I did not want to kill her. But obviously you had to do it or you were going to die yourself. But yeah, I just have nothing but good things to say about this. I loved it. I will play it again. I've got all the trading cards, all the coins, all the safes, all the what's them things like the workbenches. I'm missing five artifacts and one journal entry. So I do need to play it again. But my buddy Chris, who's probably not watching this because he hasn't played it yet, so I don't want him to know any spoilers. Poor bugger, he's been stuck in shielding since the whole corona started, him and his wife. They haven't been able to leave the house at all. It's been a long time, and they're going stir crazy, so I know he's desperate to play this game, so I'm sending off to him to let him have a go at it. And when I get it back, I will play it a second time to get the platinum trophy and upgrade all my weapons and find those damn artifacts and that journal entry that I've missed. But just kudos to Naughty Dog. I mean, they've just created an amazing game, and I'd be really interested to hear from the blokes out there how you felt about the fact that the whole game is basically you're playing as women, Ellie and then Abby. I loved both characters. I loved the fact that Abby was not the most delicate flower, that she was strong, that she was muscular, that she could look after herself. I loved the character, and she's just physically very different from Ellie. Plays very similarly to Joel. They probably used a lot of the sort of mechanics from playing the character of Joel in order for you to play Abby. But I didn't see any feminist agenda. I did not see any man-hating at all. All the villains we kill are both male and female. There's no one sex that's murdered. There's no bad guy, you know, that's just one person that's male. They don't say anything remotely male bashing. Ellie is lesbian. She has a relationship with a girl called Dina, and it's a beautiful relationship. It's not done for titillation. It's not done for, oh yay, lesbians, you know, like some like brain dead blokes can be. I'm not saying all blokes are brain dead. I'm not a feminist man hater here. I'm just saying some men hear the word lesbian and they just think about how that pleases them rather than anything else. But the relationship was very sweet. It was just written like you would write a heterosexual relationship. There's no thought about it. There's no, oh, you know, this is a bit odd, this is a bit weird. And that's how it should be. All relationships, there's no norm. The relationship was very much treated just like a normal relationship with no real inference to the fact that it was two girls, which is how it should be. It should be normalised because it is normal. And that's very much how it's put across. There's nothing done in any way that's supposed to titillate, which was my concern. There is one scene in the movie which I will warn you because my son was in the room when I was playing this and I had to get him to go out of the room. Oh, I'm such a prude. Isaac's 9. I didn't think it was suitable for him to be seeing. There is one sex scene in it with Abby. And now Abby is a big girl, as in very muscular. And there isn't that much going on in the way of boobage, it has to be said, which is just as well, because Isaac, I think, saw the start of it. And there is a sex scene with her in, which is quite, you know, it's not something you want to be sitting playing when your kid's in the room. So I was like, Isaac, look the other direction, clear off, out the room. He was playing a game of his own on a Switch at the time, so I don't know what he saw, but I was shocked. I was surprised at that. But yeah, I just can't say enough good things. There's no feminist agenda. There's no man-hating. You can have a lesbian relationship and not hate men. You can be a strong, independent, muscular woman that can look after herself without hating men. It's not that way at all. And I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts, the blokes out there that have played this. Let me know what you thought. I've been talking for way too long. If you haven't played it and you've watched this, I warned you, that's some big fat massive spoilers I've just given you. But if you have played it, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. Put them below in the comments and let's get an old chatter going on. I'd be very open if any of you guys, when you've played it, want to do a live stream about it or anything, have a chat. I did watch two guys, Zach Pope and Rudy, I can't remember Rudy's surname. They have a video where they have like an hour-long chat about the game and how they felt about it, and it was really interesting to watch. So if any of you guys want to do a live chat about it at any stage, hit me up. I'm very much up for that. But thank you for listening. It's over a night from Lisa Lives.